Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert with the TED Show. We're back. Happy Friday, TGIF. Super excited to have this incredibly talented artist on the show today. We're going to talk about Unapologetic with the one and only Kristy Lee. Welcome to the show, Kristy.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm honored to be here, Ted. Thank you.
I'm excited, and of course, I would be remiss if I didn't say Boris is in the background from Mills Gallery, trying to direct both of us, but we love him.
We'll keep him around.
We'll keep him around. All right, so we love origin story on the show. Give us a little background on you. People like to know the journey, when you knew you were an artist, and kind of how you came into your own, and then we can take a deep dive into Unapologetic.
That'd be great. Thank you. First, let me say again, thanks for having us on the show. This exhibition means a lot to me. But I started my journey actually when I was very young. My parents, we didn't have a lot of money, but I always had like little things to color on or paint on. And I knew that I can draw pretty young, but again, coming from not having a lot, I didn't have the opportunities. So as I grew older, and I went into a business, I went into the hair business because I can create style, I can do form and shape on heads. And so it was a wonderful career for me in New York City. I ended up working for Paul Mitchell and had great years with that. Raised my family. And then when my son went off to college, it was my time to say, I'm going to explore this. I really wanted to be an artist. So I took my first class. I dragged a girlfriend with me who really had no interest in art, but I sort of talked her into it, and I got my foot in the door. And from there, it was full speed ahead. And so that was about, I'd say 12, 13 years ago. But I only started to bring art out once I met Paul. We'll talk about Paul in a minute, but he was the first person to actually see my art and say, you can do something here. So it was a great opportunity that he handed me, and I took it and went with it, and here I am.
So I love it. Let me ask you, you mentioned drawing. So you knew early on that you could draw, but a lot of people have that gift and then they don't go with it. They don't go with the flow. Later on, they kind of forget about it, but you never forgot it. You always knew that you had the gift. But then how did you decide on what kind of art you were going to create with that gift?
And that's a great question, Ted. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when I went to that first art class, I was clueless. I had no idea. And I needed somebody to sort of guide me. And, when you take these first young art classes, basically they give you, paint this little apple, or let's paint the tree, and all that beginning stuff. And I think that's good because it does kind of get your feet wet, and then as you grow as an artist and you keep trying new things, then it was my time to sort of branch out into what I liked. So then I started doing figures and portraits, but I found that so hard to keep going with. I think every time you do a portrait, it takes a little piece of you because you want it to be the person. You want it to be realistic. And, there's a lot of pressure that goes with that. So I started to feel like I wanted to go in another direction. I loved abstract art. I'm a big follower in the arts myself. And I said, I started leaning towards that direction. And I loved it. It was from there. It was
that's where you found your home.
Yeah, I found my home, but still taking faces and portraits and stuff with me, but in a whole different way. Yeah.
I think I can't draw a straight line, so that's one of the reasons why I think I'm attracted to art, because I just find it so amazing that you can take an idea and make it look like something that people love and appreciate. So kudos to you, because I'm amazed, of course, at this. I saw part of I saw the picture, obviously, on what we did, and so I'm excited to talk about Unapologetic. So first of all, I love the name. So tell us a little bit about the exhibit and about Unapologetic, and of course about Paul T. Scarborough.
Well, Paul was a mentor to me. I only met him 2 years actually before he passed. So we were fast friends. We became friends right away. And I think part of that was we both were into doing work for charities, and we had met at a charity that we both are passionate about. And we used to talk late at night. Paul was a late night painter. I was a painter that painted late at night. And so it was just the two of us trading ideas and him giving me lessons and teaching me on how to just be the artist that I want to be, unapologetically. And that's where the name comes from, because we didn't want to be put in that box, you know, that galleries will say to you, well, give me 12 paintings that sort of go together because, you know, so people get to know who you are as an artist. But as an artist, we want to paint everything, you know. That's the beauty of what's around us every day, you know. So when I go to a canvas, I don't want to go there thinking, okay, today I'm going to paint a tree, you know. I want to go there and say, today I want to paint whatever comes to me, whatever feels good. And again, that's by painting unapologetically. So when I would talk to Paul about that, he would say, you know, just paint, just paint. So after Paul passed, which was a very tragic thing for me, his family, and the Orlando art community, because he was not only a wonderful artist, but he gave back a lot to other artists and to charities here in the community. So, you know, this was my opportunity to do something for him. Yeah, I'm honored to be able to do that.
I want people give us a feel for what people will expect when they come into the exhibit, because, you know, art can be intimidating, and I think people want to try art, they want to go see it, but they're always afraid of, you know, they've seen it in the movie where the artist is hoity-toity and doesn't like to talk to them, and if you don't see the exact thing, you're not an art person. So let's break that down and bring it so that people will understand what they're going to see when they come in. I think that's important for people to know.
I absolutely agree with you. And what I like to do, Ted, is I like to go through the exhibition with the people and tell the story. You know, and I think it's really important. And I've talked to people before who say it really opens it up. I know myself, when I've gone to different galleries, when, you know, the dossier goes around and tells you the story, you see it so differently, you know? So for me to be able to walk people through this exhibition and explain Paul's art and where it started and where it is now, or where it, you know, he left it, and mine, and the same transition of where I kind of started and where I've come, you know, full circle. So when they come in, I hope that they keep an eye on the differences. You know, in this particular exhibition, I definitely kept away from my abstract side to give Paul the abstract part of this, because that's really who he was. And because I do faces and abstract, I sort of left mine towards the faces. And so it tells the story, as you're going to come through, of the beginnings of before, when Paul first met me, and how I've evolved as an artist through learning from the things that he did and the words that he gave me to use.
Beautiful. All right, I have to ask too, if somebody, like we talked about the intimidation a little bit, people are afraid of, it's like when they try wine or anything. When somebody comes in and they are new and they say, you know what, I want to give this a chance. What are some things, like, is there a pointer or two that you can give them that says, all right, so look for this, or look how it makes you feel, instead of focusing on trying to find the exact message?
Absolutely. And that, what you just said, is one of the things that I say to people, especially with contemporary abstract art. You know, we give you names, and sometimes that's good and sometimes that isn't so good, of a painting, because then sometimes it makes you think, oh, that's what he meant to say. But I think that when you're looking at art, or especially if you're purchasing art, you need to find your own story in that piece. So it touches something in you that makes you want to own it, or makes you want to stand there and look at it and observe. And being so abstract with Paul's art, he created a story within a story on every one of his paintings. And so he would want you to stand there, not look at the name, but create your own story. And I feel the same way because it's personal. Everybody sees something different. And I think a lot of that sometimes is how you're feeling or what you want to find in a painting. Do you think that, Ted? Do you see that?
Yes, I think so. When we first started we started out on a cruise ship, and I think we collected what I consider Florida beach condo art. You know, it's the mom and the dad and the beach, and it's beautiful, and it speaks to you, and you've had a lot of champagne. So of course you want to buy anything. And then you learn what you begin to appreciate. And then what really changed it for me, which is why I want people to go to your exhibit, is when one of the artists is present and you are looking at a piece. I'm telling you, when the artist describes what that piece meant or how that piece made them feel or how it came into be, it changes the way you look at the art, and it makes a huge difference. So we love to purchase, they don't call them originals anymore, but whatever they call them, we love to purchase one of a kinds. And we do that because we love to hear the story of the artist, and we love to hear what the artist said and how it came to be.
I agree with that. I feel the same way myself. I am also a collector of other people's art as well. And like I said before, when someone explains what it means, it's a wonderful story. It's wonderful also to create your own story and bring that too. But it's nice to hear what the artist was thinking at the time as well. So, and I think it becomes more important and more personal to you to own that piece when you take a piece of the artist with you. Yeah. So
it's
that's
so true. And you all don't. Go ahead.
No, I said, and that's why I like to walk through on my exhibitions and give people a history and a story of what's happening. Yeah.
It just gives the person who's viewing, the potential buyer, the person who wants to appreciate art, such a different perspective when you can hear it. There's a couple of artists like that we collected. Tarkai is a famous artist, and I didn't like any of those paintings until I heard the story about why all of the eyes are closed. And so it's just a beautiful thing when you hear the story and you can understand why the art's being painted a certain way. A piece that didn't speak to you prior will speak to you a lot louder if you know kind of the background to things. That's why exhibits are so important, and being able to talk to an amazing artist is also important.
And it also means a lot for us, the artist, to tell you a little bit about what's going on in the painting. And I think for me, you know, when I go to, like I said before, when I go to other galleries and things, I love to hear them take you through the whole story. It's beautiful. It means a lot. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
I agree. All right. So we want to get people to the exhibit. Tell us where it's at again, and give us some ideas of when it's open and how people can reach out to you all.
Yeah, well, I'd love to do that. Thanks, Ted. So we have the poster in the background, and the exhibition actually opens on October 2nd, although we do have the art on the wall now, but officially opens October 2nd. We're hoping that people come down between 7 and 9. We are going to do the social distancing. We're very careful that people will have masks. We'll be doing temperature, you know, all the things that make people feel comfortable about coming into a space like this, you know. We'll have a bar actually outside so that the people who can't get in right away can enjoy a little bit of time out there. And as you know, with the Mills Gallery, they have beautiful windows that you can actually see in as you're standing outside as well. So, yeah, and then during the month
of October, it begins October 2nd. The kickoff is October 2nd, 7 to 9. Yes. MillsGalleryOrlando.com is scrolling across there, which will have the information, and I obviously shared it. Do people have to RSVP? Can you just come? Is it like an open house?
It's an open house. You can just come. We're only going to let in a certain amount at a time. That's why we're putting the bar outside instead of inside, weather permitting, of course. And then during the month of October, Ted, I will do private groups if anyone wants to come in and not be part of, you know, a large group. I'll do private tours as well. All they have to do is call up and talk to Boris and make an appointment, and I'll be glad to do that.
So I'm going to post all of that, and you will too. I like to ask questions of an artist because I know I'm familiar with the fact that when you finish a painting and you sell it, yes, it's like selling a piece of you, like your baby, yes, almost. Yes. Has there been any piece that sticks? Has there been any piece that sticks out in your mind that you sold that was the hardest one for you to let go?
Yes, I think every artist has that. They are your children. They mean something to you. So when you let them go, it's nice to get payment for them. But at the same time, you say, oh, I'm never going to see that child again. That it's leaving the house. And yeah, there is the first one, the first big one that sold for me, fortunately for me, went to a close friend and who has a beautiful home, and it just looks beautiful. So I get to visit it every once in a while, but it still stays in your heart. Actually, almost every one that you sell means so much to you because you spend so many hours and days and time in front of that painting just to make it get to where you feel comfortable about putting it out there. But with that said,
it's your heart and soul. You're creative.
Yeah, it's your heart and soul. And Ted, I do want to mention
All right. Go ahead,
one more thing. I want to mention one more thing, if we have the time, that all the proceeds from Paul's art are going to go to a foundation that in his name that the family has started, and it'll also give to charities here in Orlando and help some young artist on its way to its future in the art community. So we're looking for good things, and I hope people will come down and enjoy the show.
I want them to go. All right, so it kicks off October 2nd, 7 to 9 at Mills Gallery, Orlando. The website's there. You can reach out. Unapologetic. And we have one of the artists on here, Kristy Lee. What a pleasure to have you on. You're a joy. We only mentioned Boris's name once. Sorry, Boris. Now it's 2 or 3 times. But kudos to Boris for all the love and support that he gives every artist that comes in there. I'm just so excited for your exhibit. I love what you do. So thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for having me. And congratulations on over 800 shows.
Thank you. Thank you. You're 821 today. All right, guys, go out, look at millsgalleryorlando.com. It is so easy to get to. There's tons of parking. And if you have any interest in learning about art or you love art like we do, you don't want to miss out. October 2nd, it kicks off. Thank you, Kristy Lee. Thank you, Boris and Mills Gallery Orlando. You all have a beautiful weekend.
Thank you, Ted. I really appreciate it. Great day.
You too.